What's going on, everybody? It is Chris Classic with another podcast. I wanted to start at 5:30. Excuse me for being late. What had happened was the food came in that we ordered, so I wanted to make sure that my kids were fed and everything because I didn't want them to come down here. So, um, before we go on, welcome to the Take It Home podcast. I appreciate everybody that has tuned in, people that are coming in. I appreciate you guys for what you continue to do, supporting the channel, supporting the movement. Just a guy just trying to talk to people and have certain views on certain things. Before we get into it, don't forget June 18th, Kingdom Come. It will happen. It goes down. Make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you show up. Bring your family. Bring your mama. Bring your grandma. Bring everybody. Bring everybody. Whole family function. Got some matches. We got the C3 Wrestling Championship. It will be Miles Mercer versus Just Amazing. I'm going to go through this as quick as I can because I was late. As you guys remember in Guys versus Gals, it was Miles Mercer versus KO Kendra for the C3 Wrestling Championship. It was a good back and forth. Miles was being Miles, and he took out KO Kendra with a chair, and her husband didn't like that, and I didn't like that neither. So this is why we have this. This is a whole year in the making. It was supposed to happen, but with powers beyond our control, we couldn't do it in September. So now we are grateful that we get to see this. Everyone gets to see this. So it's going to be great. Next match, Aaron Stone versus Jackson P. Larkin for the C3 Over Culture Championship. For the past few shows, Larkin has been a thorn in the champ's side, interfering with matches, always getting the upper hand. Now, so at the last show, Stone would not let him go until he got a match with him, and he was willing to put his championship on the line, and that's why it comes into fruition. Also announced today or yesterday. I believe it's yesterday. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get used to this. Anyway, Cassidy Keith versus Classic Alpha. As you guys know, I'm Classic Alpha. When I was injured beginning of last year, I did ask who wanted to face me or who would want the smoke, and he came with the lighter. So this is why we're doing this. This will be a great show. Like I said, I had to change it up from the original card. A lot of people had other commitments and stuff like that, and I'm not mad at that. Stuff happens. Since I do have you guys' attention, make sure that you also subscribe to the Take It Home podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the C3 Ultimate Wrestling on YouTube. Check me out on Twitch. Still trying to figure that out. Also, Facebook, Chris Classic Williams. Check out the website, c3ultimatewrestling.com. I'm going to update that with more things closer to the show. But especially on YouTube for the Take It Home podcast. Make sure y'all subscribe if y'all haven't. I am 3 subscribers away from 100. My birthday is actually on Monday, but I'm going to celebrate it this weekend. So if you guys want to bless me with a subscription, I'd appreciate that. I do want 100 before my birthday or whatever like that. This may be my last vlog until next week because I do want to do things for my birthday, but we'll see where it goes. I hope you guys, like I said, are having a wonderful day. Now, we're going to go into the topic. What is a wrestling vet? And what are the qualifications for a wrestling vet? Yep. I'm here. But okay. When I first started, and I had somebody, he actually wanted to speak upon this as well. But I said that I had it. I was gonna give my view on it and everything like that. It's no disrespect to him. I, love you, Matt. It's my bro and all of that stuff. But I talk a lot, and I can't be on here long today because my Chinese food is here. But I love you guys. I'm with my Chinese food. And this would go from 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours or whatever like that. I do want to have people on the panel though. I've had it one time. It was with Yella. Shout out to Yella. And we talked about the celebrities and wrestling thing for a little bit. But for now, I just want to just talk about this situation with the wrestling vet. Sorry if my phone is going on. My wife is calling me. I'm going to have to tell her I am live and she might curse me out. But anyway, when I first started, I've always heard talks of a wrestling vet. And in the wrestling locker room, because this is more dedicated to the wrestlers than the fans, if you want to listen to it, by all means, like I said, I love the love. I love y'all. But anyway, hey, don't listen. You have to listen to this person. This person is a wrestling vet. Respect your veterans, or you have to look at the veteran. You have to talk to the veteran and things like that. So I was like, okay, I was young in the game, so I was kind of hard-headed. And I'm sorry, my wife is. But anyway, I was hard-headed, and I was like, what is a vet? Like, I'm trying to understand what a vet is. Now, everyone has a different version of what a vet is, for real. So some people say you have to spend a certain amount of time in the business, or you have to gain a lot of people respect with your knowledge, or you have to do anything like that. To me, now, I don't consider myself a vet. I respect the business the best way I can. I talk to people. People talk to me. We have different opinions and everything like that. So I'm going to get this out the way. But a vet to me, a wrestling vet to me, is somebody who gives back to the wrestling community, and they don't have to. Well, sometimes they don't even wrestle. Sometimes they do part of the show production, or they're looking around, and they're in the locker room. They're asking people, hey, what would you do for this? If I did this to you, what would you do? And I've been blessed to see a few people and still talk to people now who I do consider veterans, who I do respect, who do give free game. They're not charging for this because they want the business to prosper. They want it to flourish. They want it to be fresh. Now, I don't think that there are a lot of vets now because of the way things are changing with wrestling shows and stuff like that. A lot of people don't want to hear this stuff about theory and wrestling psychology. And I'm telling you, if you learn this stuff, you will be further, you will understand the business, and you will respect it a lot more. I will say that. Usually wrestling vets who I consider a vet, they don't brag about being a vet. They'll tell you, if they don't mind telling you their age, they'll tell you things that they've done and stuff like that. But they don't want that title of a vet. They want to help the business the best way they can. And sometimes they help by trying to tell kids, young kids who started, or people who are in the business, things to stop, like mistakes that they made that made to stop them from being more successful, or even if they were successful, like an injury or something like that. So they try to tell people exactly what to do to avoid that kind of thing, because you don't want nobody hurt, or you shouldn't want anybody hurt at the end of the day. That's one of my versions of the vet. Now, I'm not saying that if you're 5 years in the business, you are a vet or anything like that. I do think that it is a big thing of longevity. And what up, Yella? Salute. And I do think that a lot of people do think because they wrestled for 15 years that considers them a veteran in the game. Now, I disagree with that, because you do have a lot of people that want that admiration as a veteran, but don't know anything, just know how to do moves and stuff like that. And like I said, sometimes veterans are not the nicest people. They don't have to be, or whatever like that. They care about the business, and they see how people are carrying themselves. Many still protect kayfabe. Some don't. Some do. And some don't like the direction or whatever like that. And 9 times out of 10, they'll come to you and tell you exactly how they feel about your match. Your match was okay, but you need to work on this and you need to work on that. The problem with this now is, I don't want to say that there's a lack of vets, but I do see like the locker room is getting younger and younger. I do think, however, one of the reasons is because we're living in an era in life where everything is a participation trophy. You get what I'm saying? So if a person who is new they don't know how to do something, and then the vet goes to them, actually takes time out of whatever they were doing to say, hey, you need to work on your kicks. You need to work on this. That person will really get upset, go online, and then people who support them or know them will say, oh, well, this person is a hater. This person doesn't know. This person is jealous. And no, it's not jealous. It's not really jealousy when you think about it. They actually want you to do better. They want you to thrive. The fact that they could have been doing anything else, they could have been doing anything else that they were asked to do, that does not mean that they want you to fail or whatever like that. And sometimes you don't even know who a vet is. So you really do have to watch what you say when you're in their locker room, because you do have people that watch them and they have their back at the end of the day. You said what to, I'm going to say Atlas, for example, because Atlas is in the chat. You said what to Atlas? Now, if Atlas don't get you first, them other people will. Hey, you need to apologize because this dude has done all of this stuff. This dude has trained so-and-so. This dude has put in the work for this. You don't talk to him like that. That's how I came up. You couldn't talk to certain people a certain way who are considered vets because they're giving knowledge that they don't have to. Nowadays, everyone has a podcast and are trying to get this away or trying to sell it, let alone. But some of these vets are really giving us free game. This is how I learned a lot. Hey, you need to stand up straight. You need to stop smiling. You need to have more intensity. You need to be more aggressive. Atlas has told me this many a times. You need to do, especially like with my posture. I do have bad posture. You be surprised. And and I say 5 years because a lot of people, it's easier for people to be booked now. You get what I'm saying? So if they feel like they've been wrestling every weekend for the past 5 years and they started 5 years ago, they don't want to, not all, I'm not saying all, I'm just saying some don't want to hear what the person has to say because they try to measure their success. They think they're more successful than somebody, so they feel like they don't want to hear anything. This is why I feel like wrestling as a whole, especially with Twitter and social media, it can be toxic, even coming from wrestlers. Salute Robert Brown. What's happening? So that's how I feel, because I've seen things where people actually talk to the young person, hey, you need to do this. And the young person just blew them off because they felt that they were getting disrespected or whatever like that. And we're all not perfect or whatever like that. Mistakes happen. You might trip. You might mess up or whatever like that. And if anything, the veteran is trying to protect you so you can have longevity in the business, because there are a lot of veterans who went through serious injuries doing the things that some of us do. And they're trying to make sure we don't hurt ourselves or anything like that. Look, wrestling is already risky, right? You literally have people who blew quads going into the ring. You can trip, you can fall, you can mess yourself up. I forgot his name. The guy, he's paralyzed now. The Japanese wrestler, whatever like that. And all this stuff can happen. So it's like you look at these matches and they're very high paced and stuff like that, especially on the independent scene. And most of these guys, they feel like because they have a lot of belts, or they have they get booked a lot, or a lot of people send them money and stuff like that, that they're on top of the world. Okay, you can feel that way. That's fine. But the issue is when somebody who's in the game is trying to give you knowledge. This is the problem. In wrestling, you should not be unteachable. And that's the problem. I think people who wrestled for 5 years or who got booked at the top wrestling companies, independents and stuff like that, they become unteachable because they feel like they already made it. And just because you think you made it don't mean that you have. Like, this is my take. In wrestling, you should always try to make a mark. But it becomes difficult for you to make a mark when everybody's doing a copy and paste thing. I'm going to click on what Atlas said. What's going on, Chris Dilworth? Shout out. I was on your show commenting. There's some good stuff, man. I'm going to have to go on your show one day too, man. Salute. All right. There's a lot of veterans that will let you mess up just to get you out of the biz. And you see, this is another thing I was going to talk about, because you do have some veterans that don't care. And I wouldn't even call them a veteran or whatever like that. Usually some will be like, you're on your own as soon as you disrespect me, as soon as you don't shake my hand in the locker room. And this is something I still do to this day. I still do this to this day. I still shake everybody's hand. I don't know who's who or whatever like that. I just go and shake people's hand. That's what I'm taught. Like, that alone could put you in some bad business, because these people are also wrestling too and stuff like that, and you don't know who you're going against. Like, you will pay for that in the match. But you do have some guys that consider themselves veterans that will want you to be out and stuff like that. They won't tell you nothing, and they don't need to tell you, or they'll mess you up and tell you to do something that you're not ready for. You're not comfortable taking a move. What up, Willie? What's going on, Willie? Yes, sir. I got a podcast, Chris. So this is the thing. Speaking of Willie, the last show I did, not the last show, last PRW show, Willie was there, and I had a match. And after my match, I asked Willie, because Willie is a respected veteran out here in the wrestling scene. I asked him, I was like, how was my match? He was like, basically, he don't have to tell me anything. It was a good match. You know what you're doing. And that made me feel good, because I was like, a lot of people look up to Willie, Marche, a lot of these guys, C-Red, Atlas, a lot of people look up to these guys. And it's just like, that's what I did. When I learned about a veteran, and when I started like doing more shows and going to more cities and stuff like that, I went to the veteran. How was the match? Could you watch my match? That's the thing. Sometimes you have to go to them and be polite and be respectful. Could you watch my match? Could you tell me what I need to work on, what I don't need to work on? What did you like? What didn't you like? And sometimes if you mess up so bad, they'll come to you and say everything that they hated. And that's the thing. A lot of people think that these veterans are supposed to be like super nice Candyland board game and lollipops and stuff, representative of the Lollipop Guild. And it's not like that, because how they were taught. You think of these situations, how they were trained. I don't want to say worse, but they had gruesome practices and stuff like that. Salute, C-Red. Salute, my brother. I hope everything's all right with you. I got to talk to you soon. They were taught way tougher. There was no social media to where you can go and say, somebody don't want me to succeed. And it's not like that. And it's tough love. And sometimes you just have to suck it up. Hey, if your bumping is incorrect, you can hurt yourself and you can hurt other people. That's why they're there. They want to make sure the good ones. Now, if you're a bad vet, I don't consider you a vet if you want people to get hurt. But at the same time, you cannot be somebody that's new to the game and be ignorant. And I've seen it. And I've heard people call people out their name. You're too old. You don't know this. You don't get this. You don't wrestle like I do. Like I've heard stories of the disrespect. And that's a problem, is that I respect these guys who did wrestle, who even talked to me. Like, I don't think I've ever told C-Red this, but when I was at PRW or whatever like that, C-Red would like randomly have a conversation with me. This was before we are brothers now. He would have a random conversation with me about wrestling. He would tell me all the stuff that he would do, riding around with Marche and Acid Jazz and Willie and stuff like that. And he would say all the stuff he did and the stuff that they were talking about. And I was like, why is he talking to me? I mean, I love that he's talking to me, and I respect everything he do, because everybody knows who the Soul Touchers are in the Midwest and worldwide. So I was like, why is he talking to me? And to me, that was humble as well to me, because I didn't know that he wanted to talk to me about anything, and he would tell me, like, even my match I had with my wife, if y'all haven't seen it, it's on See-Through Ultimate Wrestling. I won. But I asked him, and he would tell me the advice, okay, this is what you did, and I like this and stuff like that, and it worked. Willie said, I'm not nice. Sir, yes. Yes, we still talk about that pounce. Well, you pounced the guy twice. It's on YouTube. Those were nasty pounces that you gave to the guy. I don't want to say his name. Yes. So that's my thing, is the veterans are here and they are trying to protect the business still. So if you come in with that fabricated mumbo jumbo, I want to do what I saw on Impact or AEW or WWE with no sense, then yes, you should get checked for that. Nobody's holding you down. You're not being brought down. They're not trying to hurt your feelings. They don't care about your feelings. They care about wrestling because of what we sacrifice and what we go through as wrestlers who are trying to be workers. Nobody's trying to stop you from being you or whatever like that. But you have to make it make sense. If you do not make it make sense, how are you going to teach people? You have people who didn't have a veteran that turns around and tries to train people who they don't even know anything about doing stuff safely and stuff like that. You know, the bumps and stuff like that. If you're going in and you're teaching people how to do super kicks and all this flying stuff without chaining, and they can't even do a headlock takeover, you're not even teaching basics. And that's what I see sometimes, is that you don't see a lot of basics, and you can kind of tell because a lot of people see what a lot of these companies are doing without the psychology and the dangerous spots, and they're training people like that because they want to hurry up and make money. But then at the end of the day, you know, somebody can die in the ring because they weren't safe. They didn't tuck their chin, they didn't lower their head, they didn't do anything, they didn't bump right off a shoulder tackle. Anything is very dangerous. So veterans don't have to be nice. They really don't. But you can tell that they care about the business and they protect the business. And sometimes you can piss them off with one thing and they won't care about your life anymore. They won't care about what you do at the end of the day. Willie says on Facebook, that's why I teach the basics. And that's the thing. I still do basics to this day. Like, the wrestling world makes it easy for me and other people to just do old school stuff, and it works and it sticks and the crowd loves it and stuff like that. It's not boring. Whatever Twitter, toxic Twitter or whatever it says, it doesn't. Twin, hit me up after the show. All right, got you. All right, Matt says, I rarely meet new wrestlers that don't want to go to the or AEW. A lot of them also don't understand the work it takes to get there. A lot of my criticism comes from holding a standard of being new, fresh, and different from everyone else. And that goes into what I was just saying, Matt. I was saying that everybody wants to make a mark, but everybody's trying to make the same mark with the copy and paste method. Now, a lot of people do the strong style thing, right? The chops, and stuff like that. You see that in a Moxley match. You see it in a Danielson match. You just seen it with Samoa Joe and Suzuki. You see a lot of these, and a lot of people say, hey, I want to do that. But then it's like, okay, well, you still need to learn the basics before you really try to chop somebody or try to hurt somebody. Because if you hit somebody the wrong way, they're going to lay you out straight because you're in there to play. And we shouldn't be in there to play. We shouldn't be in there to play. We're in there to wrestle. We're in there to work and stuff like that. And I remember Sammy did the cutter off the ladder to Cody Rhodes. And it was clean. I ain't going to lie to you, Jack. And then I seen somebody that following weekend do a cutter on top of other people. Like the person was going for a dive and the person jumped off the turnbuckle to do a cutter to fall on the people. And it looked like trash and it looked unsafe. That's the kind of stuff that a veteran would get mad at sometimes. Not all the time. Some people know that wrestling changed and the business has changed. And sometimes people give that. They'll let that happen. Or people that block chops. Yeah. If you're going to chop somebody, and they give you the and they give you their chest, you're going to get chopped back. Even if you call in a match in the ring, you can expect that a chop is going to happen. Not no, oh, my chest, oh, my heart, oh, nothing. You're going to get chopped back. Look, if that's how you want to wrestle, that's how you want to wrestle. But if you're going to do that, you have to realize you're going to get it back. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you hit them hard, you're going to get it back, either in the back or in the ring. Willie says, do you also think television wrestling today is hurting younger guys that's trying to get into the business because now they promote sometimes bad habits or bad wrestling? The younger guys that want to get into business, and when they first start, this is what they say they want to do. See, this is what I'm saying even about training. I don't think that a lot of these camps that are coming in, there's not a lot of veterans now. And that's bad because some just look at what's on TV and is sick of the product. And that's not even just WWE. Sometimes it's AEW. Sometimes it's like the independent scene and stuff like that. And sometimes people got turned off because they did talk to a guy or a woman and they blew them off. What do you know? They didn't say it, but they acted like that. Hey, you should do this. Everybody is doing this. You need to do this. If you're this character, what are you doing different from everybody else? And some people, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to just do this and I'm going to do that. Like I've seen people say that their move is different. It was a different finisher than an RKO, but it really wasn't. It was still an RKO at the end of the day. Like, and I remember Willie, actually, it was a triple threat match. at a company. I was just starting there. It was a triple threat match, and it was a great triple threat match. The finisher was an RKO, and it wasn't an M80. So it's not Marche. We call it M80s. It was somebody else. His finisher was basically an RKO or a cutter, if you want to call it that. And Willie went in on a guy, and he said, "Hey, this match was perfect except the end. The issue was it was an RKO. Like, even if you call it a different name besides the M80, salute to Marche, people know what that is." And he said that could take away from the match because it's a popular move that is used in WWE at especially RKO was doing, Randy Orton was doing RKOs out of nowhere. So, and I remember the guy, he didn't really brush him off, but he was trying to plead his case on why he chose that move or anything like that. I believe it might have been his first time doing it, but I got what Willie was saying because it kind of did take away because it is already a very popular move, especially in the independent scene. And you fast forward now, cutters they're not even signature moves unless you Jay Lethal. Now everybody does a cutter, and it's like it's not even the finisher. And I remember Stone Cold was upset when Cena was doing the springboard cutter. So I can imagine how he is now. Cody jumps off the top rope, does a back to the cutter, and that doesn't finish matches. But Jay Lethal does a flip, and that's the cutter, and that's the end of the match. Matt says, well, it's a double-edged sword. They usually don't understand that those guys like Joe and Suzuki, Mox Danielson, can put chain wrestling just about everyone in the world. Their footing is perfect. Their pacing is perfect. That's when you can wrestle the popular way. And I agree with you. Those guys know the basics. You can watch. I'm going to say, I keep Bryan Danielson. I keep want to call him Daniel Bryan. You can watch him chain for minutes, and people just love him. They just love him because they know that he's a wrestler. He's a pure wrestler. Samoa Joe, pure wrestler. Moxley, wrestler. But going back to that, you have to be trained to know the basics. Footing, people's footing be off. Oh, shoulder tackle. Oh, you're rolling, you're over rolling or whatever like that. Oh, you're shuttle stepping. You shouldn't be shuttle stepping or anything. You're crab walking and stuff like that. You have a lot of people that don't want to do the basics because sometimes outside of Danielson, a lot of wrestlers aren't doing the basics or anything like that. And that's the problem. And that's what I like. I like the basics because you can still make people go crazy with a shoulder tackle. You still people go crazy. A vertical. I haven't done verticals since I got hurt. I am going to go back to doing those though. I'm going to practice those. I love verticals. Some call it mid-range, and it's different names to it. Yes, that's what see, I just said that. Willie said Moxley, wrestler. I just said wrestler. I didn't say pure. That's another topic. That's another time. That is another time. But going back to it, like I said, I believe that a wrestling veteran gives back and wants the best for the company. Now, I think that, like I said, the issue is so many people, it's so many people that feel like it's a participation trophy error. Oh, I wrestled. You should be happy that I'm doing this or whatever like that. But hey, the punch, your punch look crap, or you try to throw a kick and it's obvious that you missed it and the guy bumped for it. You need to work on that. Oh, no, I was just tired. See, and that's the thing. These guys that's trying to give game to the business, they're not just trying to sit here and like have a tit for tat with you. Hey, you need to work on your kick. You missed the kick. Oh, but did you hear the crowd? Oh, the cutter wasn't, your chaining was crap. It looked like you didn't want to do it. Oh, well, the crowd are going to forget that. You lost your chance, man. I'm a product of listening to what the vets say, but you also see the vets. You see how they carry themselves in the locker room. They'll come talk to you, and they'll sometimes offer it, and sometimes they don't. Like I said, they're not the nicest guys in the locker room or whatever like that. It could be from anything, from life, from wanting to get in the ring and maybe can't do it or maybe can do it. But some people don't want to go through like trying to chase somebody. These vets don't owe us anything. So I'm saying that just because you wrestle every weekend, that doesn't mean that you're not teachable. Do not be unteachable. That is like the main thing. I call it the good enough generation. Can't tell you how many times I critique and I hear, well, they popped, so it was fine. And I agree, Matt. It's the, I call it the good enough generation. Actually, I'm gonna call it the, the Stewart from Mad TV, the look what I can do generation. This is what we're on. We're on the look what I can do. Don't nobody record that. But anyway, it's the look what I can do. A lot of people were very vocal on Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker's cage match. Some people liked it, but had issues with it. Some people didn't like it. Some people didn't like the lack of no selling on both parts. I felt the finish was rushed. I felt they could have did better, but it did feel like, no shade to these women, that they just did it to do it. And women's wrestling, like you sprinkle women's wrestling and say that. And like I said, their lights out match was pretty good, and I enjoyed it. And then it's just like to backdoor and to have a cage match, and then like I felt like the pacing and the order was a little bit off. But some people are going to be like women's wrestling or whatever like that, and that's it. And I do know that one trains people and stuff like that, and I know that some people are negative about that. That's not my fight, but we are in the look what I can do era. Like, do you excuse the chairs moving around? That might be my wife. They sound like the Jaws theme song. Dun-dun, dun-dun. But anyway, going back into it, we are in the look what I can do era, to where, okay, chaining is boring. I've been in practice. I've seen a guy, chaining is boring. Show me how to do this and show me how to do that. Wound up getting hurt, not wrestling anymore. But we do this because that is the base of it, is actually wrestling. If you want to do those flips and stuff like that, you can be a stunt double. You can do stunt doubles and stuff. They got classes for that. You can go to college for that. You can do a whole bunch of things for that. But you have to learn everything. You should strive to be a well-rounded wrestler and a well-rounded worker. And I do believe that a lot of people get away from that because of what they see. You see something go viral, everybody and their mama's going to do it. If it's an independent show, everybody's going to do it. Everyone, not majority people are going to do it because they're either going to try to top it or they're going to try to go viral off of it. And that's what I'm saying about how can you make a mark if you're copying and pasting the last person. You get what I'm saying? And this is all love, man. Like, I've always looked at a locker room and I've looked at matches before my match, and I've always been like, what can I do different? What can I do to follow that? The crowd was into it. What can I do? And this is from listening to vets and seeing how vets change things on the fly and try to talk to people and encourage and say you need to do it. But like I said, it's tough love. It's not horrible. It's not deconstructive criticism. You got a lot of guys that don't even know who they are. No identity. And you see, that's the thing. Jonte Keith, he posted that people are training people to say the moves get you over. And I forgot what else he said, but what? Like, who are you? All right, you can do a 630 senton. Jack Evans can do a 630 senton. Ricochet can do a 630 senton. Who are you? What can you do? What is your personality? Why should the crowd get behind you? Why? What makes you what? And some vets will ask you. And sometimes it's okay to be tongue-tied. You're talking to the right person. The person is trying to help you build your character, build your identity. Your move should not be your identity. Now, it can be. It can be in the door to where people see who you really are. Like, you think of Stone Cold. You think of Stone Cold Stunner. You think of Santino. You think of Cobra. You think of certain things. But at the same time, it's like, all right, cool. You have a lot of wrestlers, but how many of them work? How many of them can put a match together? How many of them can storytell? How many of them can storytell? How many times are we going to see the chop back and forth thing because, you want to say you strong style? How many times are we going to see that? How many times are we going to look at the spot where everybody bunches up outside the ring and literally looking up at the person to do a dive out? Like, what are we going to do that? And this is the thing with JR. I respect what JR has been, to the most part, honest with AEW's product about how certain things he don't like, what they need to work on. I'm gonna be called Randy Orton like the best wrestler, and people got mad at that. Like, this is a vet. So if the vet is saying something, you should listen to him. The guy who was at the number one company that was talking to people, that was helping people do stuff. I don't know him on a personal level, but this is a guy that people still say is one of the best commentators of all time. Now, a lot of people don't like how he talks now, but if he's saying everybody's doing this stuff, people took it, a lot of the wrestlers in AEW took it as a sign of disrespect. And it wasn't. How many of them can walk and talk? Man, walking and talking can be like so natural, yo. Like, and that's an element that I used to do when I was training. Hey, you need to have a match. Okay, well, we're just walking and talking. Like, you do not know your opponent may show up as soon as your match is supposed to start, and you may have to do that. Like, you have to have those in case of emergency parts. Those are very vital to wrestling. Willie says, so, what's up, Richard? Willie says, I look at locker rooms, I look at other wrestlers, and I always notice how easy it is for guys to look just like each other in the business. How matches are not even competitive no more. You notice how guys who say they don't or didn't learn how to throw punches, they always throwing elbows, but I always tell them, okay, you don't know how to throw punches, so look at the first match and the second match, the third match and the fourth match, and the match after intermission. What are they doing? Throwing elbows. So what makes your match different from anybody else? I've said this. This goes to chops and those forearms. Some look solid and some don't. Why are you throwing strikes if you can't strike? This is coming from somebody who I needed to work on my punches for the longest, to the point I was doing dusty elbows because I thought my punches were bad, and I would look at matches and I would cringe from it. But I had to practice. I had to go to practice. I had to practice and stuff like that. Do it this way. Do it that way. They should teach you different versions of how to punch. There's many ways to punch, safe ways. If you are a little stiff, you will get that back. But you should, if you can, if you already talked to your opponent or whatever, like you already talked or whatever, look at everything else. Look at how everything is set up. How many forearms, like Willie said, how many people threw forearms in the match? You're the fifth match. So there's 4 matches before yours. How many forearms did you see? What are you going to do? Are you going to throw a forearm in your match? You know, the fans get tired of it, especially these observant fans who look at stuff. And when I wrestled in Wisconsin, there was a match before us, which I do consider was a wonderful match. And I had to watch their match because they had similar aspects to ours. And I had talked to my guy and I was like, hey, man, there's some stuff that you're going to have to change because you want people to enjoy the match. You don't want it to be repetitive. Everybody's repetitive. Everybody's repetitive. It's the same stuff sometimes. And we're at a standstill with it because you do have veterans that are actually saying it, but people are like, no, but I can do it better. And then when they do it, it's just the same. You know, a lot of people invest more in their gear than their actual identity in wrestling. And that's a fact. It's 100% fact. There's so many people that just look at stuff. Okay, I'm going to get my gear. I'm going to get this. It's custom. I'm going to spend all this money on that. And then that's your gear could help you with your personality, but it's not your personality at the end of the day. It's not. You have to work on who you are. How do you walk? Do you walk different from everybody in the ring? How does the next person enter the ring? How did they start their match? What is your chaining like? You know, they have vets that'll literally go up to you and chain. Like as soon as they'll unguard, and you have to show them that you know what you're doing. And if you don't, you had to sit down, or you had to learn, or you had to go outside the ring. You couldn't even enter the ring until that. So when these veterans, and I've heard stories from when a lot of them trained in Windy City Pro Wrestling, how they couldn't get into the ring until they learned how to do certain things. You couldn't just go in there and learn how to do a flip or how to do a Canadian destroyer and stuff like that. You had to learn the basics before you learned to do all this other stuff. Because I'm telling you, the basics is not bad. It is okay. Regardless of what people say or try to say on social media and stuff like that, all that stuff's not boring. All of the stuff, if you know how to put it together, if you have charisma, and that's the problem. You can chain, you can have charisma, you can have a whole bunch of stuff. But if you look like you don't want to do it, why does anybody else want to care? Why does the fan, the customer, why do they care if you don't care about that kind of stuff? You have a lot of veterans that are behind that curtain that look at that kind of stuff and they say, hey, you should do this. You should work on this. You should clean this up. And the fact that so many people take it as a sign of disrespect is wrong. Now, I will say this as far as the veteran talk goes. Like I said, many veterans who I consider veterans don't even call themselves veterans. They don't even call them that. You tell them thank you, they like go on with that. Or they'll say you're welcome or go on. Don't make a scene or whatever like that. I just care for the business and stuff like that. You have a lot of people that do say that they are a veteran and stuff like that, but they don't have nothing to show for it. They didn't train nobody. All they did was talk to a few people on Facebook. I remember I was in a chat when I wrestled for a company, and there was one guy, he was like, oh, well, I'm the king of the gimmicks, and I know how to do gimmicks and stuff like that. And it was just like, no, he didn't. He didn't. Like, I didn't know what he was trying to do. It was like, it didn't seem like he was the king of that stuff. And it's just because you've been in the business for a long time, that does not make you a veteran. I can stand in the ring for 10 years and not move. And that's what Mark said. That does not make me a veteran. That doesn't make anybody a veteran if you just stand in the ring. Having a wrestling company doesn't make you a veteran. Just because you own a company and you know how to do business and stuff like that, that does not make you a veteran. Respect the vets, man. Respect the true vets. Let me say that, because a lot of people have a negative undertone when you say vet, because you do have a lot of people who aren't vets, but they claim it because they want people to respect what they say, and what they say is law. And sometimes it's not. I disagree with a lot of people, but it's how you take it and how you talk to the people and stuff like that. We're all grown at the end of the day. So if nobody wants to talk about it, then it becomes an issue or whatever like that. Sometimes you won't even get booked because of how disrespectful you was to the vet or whatever like that. You don't know what these guys do behind the scenes for a wrestling company. You don't. And that's what I'm saying. You have to be a little bit more careful with that. I've been in for 10 years since March. 10 years since March, and I've been running a wrestling show, C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Check out the stuff. For 3 years. And I don't consider myself a vet. I'm still learning. People teach. I'm not unteachable. Hey, Chris, why don't you work on this? What you think about this? Well, I feel like this. And people, we talk about this kind of stuff because it's a discussion. We want to try to get something better out of the overall product or whatever like that. And I do feel like even what Willie said is that it's a lot of people that look at what's on TV and they just think that's just it. And no, it's layers, it's levels to it and stuff like that. You can't just go in there and just think you're going to flip. I don't want to say flip. You're going to do crappy chaining and you're going to do kicks, Yakuza kicks. You're going to do all of these kicks, and that's just going to make you a successful wrestler. How did you put it together? Atlas says you got a lot of folks claiming to be vets that have never been booked outside the company that were trained at. And you see, that's what I'm saying about giving back and stuff like that. Just because your friend booked you for 25 years and you've been a champ for 20 of those years, that doesn't make you a veteran. Why should, like, if only one or two people are only talking about it, like I've talked to people and I've said, okay, well, I was talking to this person, and they'll be like, yeah, I know them. They my homie. They've been in the business. They know what they talking about. That's the kind of respect that goes a long way. Hey, who trained you? Such and such. Oh, I know this person. This person is legit, is the real deal. So if this person helped you, then you really know what you're doing or whatever like that. But with the psychology and the theory, man, it just seems like it's just dwindling with training camps and stuff like that. Tax season is still kind of upon us, and people, they getting shows, and I'm not knocking that, but make sure your stuff is good. As a promoter and also the booker, I gotta look at some of the wrestlers that I book. I gotta look at matches. I gotta look at stuff. How does this work? How do they put together? What kind of character they are and stuff like that. And you want legit, well, I do. You want legit wrestlers, legit workers for your company. And sometimes people just want to hurry up and have a wrestling show and they'll just book anybody. And like I said, anything that's negative that goes viral in wrestling, it dang near affects wrestling as a whole. It really does. And that'll stop people from being booked at venues and venues even having wrestling shows. It's very difficult to get wrestlers to be booked at certain places. Salute Arshawn, salute my brother. It's very difficult to get venues because some people do not know exactly what we do, how we do it. It doesn't matter if we show them a video. It doesn't matter how we show them how we do ring crew. They already have a preconceived notion on what they're going to do. So that's the thing that you also have to think about. Matt says a vet never needs to tell you. Also, all true vets are teachable. Wrestling is an ever-evolving art, and you can never stop learning. And that's the thing. And with the loophole is the never stop learning. Now, wrestling has evolved because intergender wrestling was laughable at one point. Some people, even to this day, they consider intergender wrestling like stupid or a waste of time. Now, as a person who made an intergender show, I'm not for it for certain things, but I felt like our company did it the right way. There's a few matches, a lot of matches that are outside of my own company that have done it the right way. Like the smallest woman in the world shouldn't be doing Germans to the biggest guy in the world. That's just my take. Just certain things. If it's done right, okay. But at one point, celebrities, laughable thing. Like they would get in for a little bit, but now they keeping up with the wrestlers. Question, do you have to be booked outside the company you're trained at? What if a wrestler makes a choice to stay even though they could get bookings? Do you have to be booked? What exactly do you mean by that, Matt? What if a wrestler makes a choice to stay even though he could get booked? That'll go into like the I guess the loyalty thing. It's you do have some people that spend years in one company and they want to give back and they want to talk to people and they want to help the next generation or whatever. If they can do better than what they were doing or whatever like that, some people will for it. So some people do stay. I will say some people do stay at one company to give back and to help and whatever, to respect the business. Some people, it's not their dreams to wrestle at other spots. It's not their aspirations to wrestle at the big two or independents and stuff like that. So even going to one company, that's cool or whatever like that. And sometimes people will send people your way. Oh, he's responding to Atlas' statement. Oh, okay. I was responding to Atlas there. Like he made it sound like you have to be booked outside to be a vet. And that confuses me. All right. I think Atlas will respond to that. But yeah, what I did get from Atlas, though, I really do think what I got, but I don't want to speak for him, so I know he's going to comment as well, is just because a person takes a liking to you or you're the favorite, you're the booker's best friend or whatever like that. Yes, because I'm ordered to truly. Okay, hold on. Atlas says yes because in order to truly learn, you have to work other crowds and work other talent. Okay, that's what he got. Okay, yeah. So like I said, I don't consider myself a vet. Some people don't consider them vets. Some people consider themselves vets. But I get what he's saying because a lot of people travel. Some have traveled. Some didn't. And that's okay. If that's what you choose not to do, then that's on you. That's your choice. I'm not mad at that. I'm not knocking that or anything at all. But sometimes you get more knowledge when you do travel and when you go to other spots and you go to other places and stuff like that. But if you do want to stay at your company or one company, I don't see there's nothing wrong with that. It will be harder for you to be validated. Matt, I respect you though, for real. So I know that you give back and you help as much as you can. So it's all respect to you, and you do a whole bunch of other stuff too. You've done stuff for my company and all of that, and then Justin's company and stuff like that. So it's all love. But me, I'm learning now. To be honest with you, I was just going to focus more on. You can always come back. Yep, that's true, Atlas. When I honestly, last year, I was like, I'm just going to just try to focus on C3 and also just wrestle for True Privilege Wrestling. And Nathan and my homie Mike, they asked me about working in Wisconsin, and they said that they wanted to book me. Now, at first, I was like, man, like, I don't like driving, but these were good people or whatever like that. And I appreciate everything that they do. They just want to just bring back solid wrestling and have fun with it. So I was actually going to like slow down my thing, my bookings and stuff like that, because I just wanted to focus on my business. So I'm there now, and 4 shows in, I got like more people. They're asking for stuff. They're asking for gear. I'm not gear. They're asking for merchandise and stuff like that. And then I'm learning because these are different people. It's a different kind of crowd that you can work with. Like these people love me out there, and I love them, and they hate this person and stuff like that. Like you can learn this kind of stuff, and it's not even just on local. You can do international and everything like that. Says I understand that, but you definitely bring different talent in to build your resume. This is from Matt. I believe that there are other ways to do it. However, I definitely concede that if you are going to do it at one spot, it is definitely more work. But I respect your opinion. Alice said, we have to test the water. You may be a big fish in your home company, but go somewhere else and can't buy a. I don't want to get to buy a book. Okay. So, yeah, like going back to what I was saying or whatever like that. I did have a desire to go to other companies. I did have a desire to see if I can compete with some of the guys. Now, some people didn't like that decision when I did go. I will say that it's all love, but I did feel like I was doing good. I met some awesome people that I still talk to. Atlas is one of them. I talked to a lot of people, even in Wisconsin with Nathan and I talked to a lot of people. It's a guy named Perfection. I talked to him. I talked to TW3 last show. Like I've met new people, and we put our minds together. We would talk about certain things and get together and stuff like that. So I can understand saying going somewhere else and learning. And like I said, it's only been local for me. It hasn't been like international around the world or anything like that. I absolutely agree. Okay, that's Matt agreeing with Atlas. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to do. Like before I even wanted to book, right? I was just wanting to wrestle. I was hungry to face some of the best people in any company or whatever like that. That was local at the time. I had a family, so that was my MO. My main thing before C3 Ultimate Wrestling was to wrestle some of the best people, and it was like at the company I started with. I was like, okay, I faced them, win, lose, or draw, whatever like that. But what else can I do? I want to make sure I'm a legit person. And it feels good when you do go to another company and then they say, hey, you know what you're doing. You got psychology. Okay, you can work on this, but you got it together and stuff like that. Those are big things for me. Like, even like I networked in Wisconsin when I was there 2 weeks ago. And man, I'm gonna book you. We gonna talk and blah 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 blah. Like that felt good. That meant that I was doing a good thing. That meant that even before that, like a lot of people say they like what I do and they respect what I do and stuff like that. And I like that because you want to get you want people to say, hey man, you're doing a great job and stuff like that. It's wrestling, man. Y'all know it's rough. If you're a wrestler, man, sometimes you gotta roll with the punches or chops. But look what I can do. But anyway, it'd be hard. So it's just like when you get a compliment or whatever like that, and you just know that you're meant for this business and stuff like that. And you can talk to veterans and they can tell you something and you don't have an attitude or you don't feel like they're attacking you or they're not saying that you don't know wrestling. That's a big thing. Because social media will really give you a participation trophy for anything with wrestling. You go viral and you think that you know it all, and you don't know it all. You don't know it all because you did something spectacular in a wrestling ring or whatever like that. You know, we've seen people get challenged like, okay, well, let's chain. What can you do? Okay, cool. All that extra stuff is fine and all of that stuff, but if you can't chain, don't come into the ring. You have a lot of athletes that come in that think they can do what we do, but then don't. Why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense. There were times when I used to talk to a guy. I believe I was a wrestler at Lake Station, and he was asking me questions, and I was just like, damn, I have the answer, but I don't have it. It wasn't coming together. That meant that I still have to be a sponge You still have to be teachable and stuff like that. And you got to think that some of these vets, they're right with some of how the foundation of wrestling is. Some of it is becoming bad and it's becoming truly worse. And we're living in a time where everybody wants to break tradition. Oh, tradition this and tradition that. It's time to break tradition. It's okay to keep some traditional stuff. It is okay. It's fine. Just because society says it doesn't mean that we have to admit, we have to go to it. Some things are meant to change, but some things are not. You know, just because you like wrestling here or you like wrestling there, that doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. What is your identity in wrestling? If your wrestling is just moves, like you have a lot of people that's not even trainers, but can show you how to do a move. You get what I'm saying? But how are you going to put that together? When you hit that person with that Canadian destroyer, and then you hit them with a tombstone, then you put them through the flaming table and the thumbtacks, and then you kick them, but you don't really kick them, and it didn't really connect in the fancy that. How are you going to explain that? Who taught you that? Who taught you that? And that's the thing. Practices ain't practices no more. I can look at it and see. Practices are not practices anymore. You want to know what practices is? Hey, I want to come in and I want to try this move, and then I want to leave. But hey, you need to work on your headlock takedown or your headlock takeover, whatever you call it. You need to work on that. You don't need to work on flipping and stuff like that. What can you? No, I don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. They shouldn't even have been allowed to do the other moves. If you can't even keep it simple, stupid, kiss. If you can't even kiss, then that's a problem. That's an issue. You can't do that. Like who training these people? I was gonna say the N word, but I'm gonna be nice today because I don't want this taken off. But and they kick out of everything. Atlas. Exactly. They kick out of everything. A tombstone is a finisher. A certain variations of a power driver is a finisher. Back in the day, a body slam or just a regular suplex was a finisher. All this for "this is awesome" chant. By the time the people leave, they will forget the match. And they just said, "This is awesome. This is awesome." They just said that. And by the time they get to the car, they forgot. You did all that. You did all that wrestling and gyrating for them to just do that. Nothing to show for it. And then you probably going to do that again. You're going to do that next week, and you can mess yourself up. You have a lot of people say, oh, a lot of people, and they say it in a promo, oh, people say that I'm dangerous and I can do all of this stuff, but I'm going to give my body 100%. I'm going to give my body 100% and stuff like that. That's not identity. That can be insanity if you keep doing the same thing over and over and you have nothing to show for it. You got to think about that kind of stuff. You know, I rather somebody look at what I do and say, "Hey, classic, that was a great match. Oh my God, I still think about that stuff. When you did this, woo, 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 woo." That's what I like. I like that kind of stuff. And this is awesome, chance, and the claps and all that. That's awesome too, and that's great. But it's just you want that stuff. You want it to stick to their ribs. You want them to leave home remembering that kind of stuff. And that's to show you how to do that because it's more working, less wrestling. Come on, man. More working, less wrestling. The match I had was 8 minutes long. I only wrestled for like 3 minutes out of it. And the crowd ate it up. And people liked it and said, "Good job." But I'm thankful for the people that spent time with me to show me about working and getting the crowd into it and stuff like that. You have a lot of people that can do a million moves, right? Don't want to do this. Don't want to work the crowd. Come on, guys. Come on, cheer for me. Whatever you want to say. Make some noise. Y'all know I say that. You have a lot of people that don't want to do that because they really think that their moves is going to get them over. But then your match number 5 and match number 1 and 3 did everything you did. And you think that's going to get you over. You wearing black tights. Everybody in that greasy grandma, no offense to the greasy grandmas out there, WD-40, got black tights. You're not doing anything different. You're not carrying yourself different. You're not looking at your surroundings, which is also a vet move. Look at what everybody else is wearing. Look at how people are carrying themselves. What are they doing different? You can hear their match. They're going over the stuff. Oh, they're doing a scissor kick. I got to take that scissor kick out. I got to do something else. And that'd be the problem too. That's another vet move. Having other moves. And some people don't. They're like, no, I got to do a scissor kick because I don't know anything else. Like, it is okay to ask for help. Skip chats. I want constant noise when I work. Give me that heat. And that's the thing. Atlas called a white family, was it the Waltons? I will never forget that. Crowd hated them already. They really hated them after that. I think he called them the Waltons. They say Brandon says people are more focused on moment. And that's the thing. It's all about people trying to be viral with it. But my take on it is eventually people are going to get sick of it. They're going to get sick and they're going to get tired of it. And then you'll be the one that make people not even care about the show anymore because you keep doing the same thing. Why are y'all not working the crowd? Y'all not even jumping in the ring to get everybody into it before you dive out. You just diving out. You just diving out. Like, what are you doing? He said constant noise. Atlas, constant noise. As soon as you come out, boo, boo, get in the ring, boo. A lockup, boo. One punch, boo. Like, you getting people, they want you to lose because you're already under their skin. And not only is this the as I'm about to close, not only is it the participation trophy error, it's a please like me error. It's like, come on, man. Please like me. I'm a heel. Please like me. Buy my merch. If it's natural and stuff like that, people will buy it. People will want it. They will support you. I keep saying it, but Mr. MJF, like, he still do autograph signings and stuff like that. And he's still in character. He can lose a lot of money, but he believes in who he is. People believe in who he is. They still buy his merch. They still do autograph signings. They still take pictures with him. We're living in that, oh, well, you got to like me. Please like me. Just like me because I wrestle. That's part of the participation trophy error. Just because you wrestle, you should support me because I wrestle. No, it don't work like that. It does not work that way. Fans need a reason to invest. They need a reason to want to know you. And that's the problem. Oh, look at my kicks. Look at my gear. Like, all of that could help. But if you don't know how to keep them, then that's the problem. That's when phones go out. That's when you see people's faces light up. And I'm not talking about with elation and happiness. I'm talking about because they unlock their phone and they're looking at stuff. Because you didn't invest. You didn't do anything different. If 5 matches before you did a super kick, why do you want to do a super kick? If you're a heel, make them hate you. Like, it's a job. It literally is a job. This is why there's a difference between wrestlers and workers. Some people, we have way more wrestlers, and I use that term loosely, and we don't have a lot of workers. And I posted about that. Work a body part. You can sell that body part the rest of the match. If it's done right, you can sell that body part. That shows concern. That gets the crowd into it. I've seen it before. Hey, are you okay? How's your arm? Sell it during intermission while you're selling stuff. That way people feel bad and they want to buy stuff because they feel like you're probably going to have to go to the hospital and you're going to need that money to pay for your injury. This is real talk. This is real talk. Hey, is your knee okay? How's this? How's your arm? Muggs do match 4 just so the ankle injury. When intermission happened, intermission is 8 minutes after dude hurt his ankle. Went to the back, intermission. Dude is out there running, sprinting, and got all this stuff. Got his merch bag and everything. You think these people gonna probably buy your stuff? Come on, man, you gotta work. Oh, I love when I see someone on the phone when I come. Yeah, I seen that before. I seen that at a PPW show. Don't pull your phone out when Atlas talks. Psychology. Message. That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, the crowd, like, the EMTs just carried you out. You look like you was dead. And then now you just come out, everything's fine because you're trying to sell merch and stuff like that. Like you have to invest. You have to invest in yourself first before you invest in before you have people invest in you. And that's with wrestling, period. You get what I'm saying? These are things that veterans talked about. Even with selling and like being over the top with merch, and not over the top with merch, but selling merch and all kind of stuff. See Red, Mr. Sean Young, my brother in Christ. He is a great example of that. This man has binders of stuff. He has gear. He has stuff he makes and he sells. And I got inspired. I got stuff on the way. Shout out to C Red. Investment. It's all about investing. If you don't care about certain things, why should the crowd do? Because you got in the ring, because you bought some Elucha tights, because you bought costume boots that zip up on the side. Y'all know what I'm talking about. C-Red is a psychologist. Yes, C-Red can be a heel and a face, a tweener at the same dang time. I've seen it. He's done it for my show. People, it's a switch for him when you think about it. And a lot of people don't have that. They're like, oh, I just trained as a heel. I don't know how to be a face. I don't know how to do that. That's the part of working and stuff like that. If you see C-Red in a locker room, you know, I'm not trying to promote that he's gonna be the nicest person, man. But hey, that dude is a gold mine in training and knowing stuff. He says his story about how he started, and it's very important to learn how he got into the business. I know Atlas trained people. He helped people and stuff like that. People respect him to this day. What he contributes. What do you contribute if you are a veteran? What makes you a veteran? Like I said, I can go to sleep in the ring for 25 years and say I've been in the ring for 25 years. That does not make me a veteran. Some of these guys, they want the best for the business. And if you don't want the best for the business, they don't want to talk to you. If you want to know about being a character, ask Red. Exactly. I agree. But if he works a crowd better than most, I just saw that at a local show, and he is unparalleled. Exactly. He gives his all. And that's the thing. You have to give your all. It's a whole performance. It is a whole performance. If you don't have it, work on it. Nobody wants to work on it though, because they feel like they get disrespected. So now they can go to another company and they can try to do that same stick, and it doesn't work. It does not work. And then you recorded it and put it on YouTube and put it on Facebook, and then you're still the same person. You're still one-dimensional. That's never a good thing. You should really talk to these guys. And I'm not even saying on a seminar point. You have people that you can just contact and talk to them. Working him, if you're a face, that's an easy night at the office. He makes it work. I agree. And I've had a match with him at Rocket Pro. I lost, sucker. But it was entertaining. It was fun. He did what he was supposed to do. ARC did what they were supposed to do. This is the kind of things that you have to do. You have to invest in yourself. And investing is sometimes being able to learn and being teachable. If you're not teachable, you will not go far in this business. And when I say you won't get far, it's either A, you won't get booked, or B, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to do stuff unsafe. Hey, okay, well, I don't want to listen. This stuff is boring. No, it's not boring. You're boring doing it. You can't do it because you're boring, because you see it's boring. You don't get the crowd into it. You can get the crowd into it by chaining. You can get the crowd into it by doing a lot of things and stuff like that. You can get the crowd into it. It's not boring. Look at Zack Sabre Jr. People love him. I just don't understand that logic that is just boring. Like, I'd rather you just say you don't like to do it. Like, there are things in wrestling that people don't like to do, but that does not mean that it's boring. You make it boring because you're not investing in it. Hey, that was a good one. You make it boring because you don't invest into it. Your character. You said your character is this. And I keep saying I'm going to close like I'm a pastor. You said your character is this. And then you come out and you're everything but that character. That's a problem. That is a problem. You're a lie and the truth ain't in you. You're the most evil person, right? But you come out smiling like me. And y'all, and people know me, know I smile a lot. You're not invested. Oh, I changed my, and I've seen it. People change what they were mid-match. Why did you do that? Oh, well, I changed it because the crowd wasn't into it. You got to get the crowds into it. You got to try. Now, if you switch up, now people call it phony and stuff like that because you're just doing anything and it doesn't work. Now you embarrass you embarrass the company, and you embarrass your opponent. You have to be invested. It's more than just gear and kicks that miss and dive out spots that hurt you more than the person that you're falling on. Because you got a lot of people that do some stupid diving stuff and overshoot, and that person's not going to catch you. Because if you're that comfortable leaving your feet, you should know where you land. Straight up. It's just true. Like I said, but there's a way to get that over too. The smiling part as a heel. Yes, Cody Rhodes did it. Cody done it with the dashing. Dolph Ziggler did it at one point when he used to shake hands and say, I'm Dolph Ziggler. But it's like when you say that you're a certain character and then you give up or you don't want to be it. Or even if a vet says you need to work on this, or why don't you look at this person promo? Look at how this person carried themselves. Why they look believable and stuff like that. I've seen people say it's boring. That's not me. I don't want to do that. MJF, good job, Brandon. MJF, he smiles all the time. He makes it work. How do you make it work? It's when you change it up, it becomes a problem. We should, believability is also a thing that veterans teach. You have to be believable. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else believe? Why should anybody come and see you wrestle if you don't even believe in yourself? That's all. But as I wrap it up for the final and 11th time, remember, if you see a vet, if you hear about a vet, say, hi, my name is such and such. Try to see if they will give you some information. That information is very important. Like I said, a lot of vets, they don't like the product that's coming out because they want to protect the business and they want to see longevity. They want to see wrestling. They want to see working and stuff like that. Talk to them. Hey, if you have time, could you watch my match? Or even if you see them on Facebook, send them. If they're not busy or whatever, when you have time, please look at that. What could I have done good? Close your mouth. Open your ears. Do not be unteachable. Do not be unteachable. When you do that, you mess yourself up and you can mess somebody else up. Like I said, wrestling has been changing, and it's changing more rapidly with participation trophy era. It's changing so rapidly. You just want people to like you because you look good or you think you wrestle good and you don't wrestle that great. So remember that. I hope you guys got something from this. I'm thankful for everybody that has chatted, commented. Like I said, I want to start bringing people on the panel. If you have not, please subscribe to the Take It Home podcast on YouTube. Also, subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling on YouTube. Make sure you can check me out on Facebook, Chris Classic Williams. Check out my Twitch channel. Also, check out the website. Remember, guys, June 18th, Kingdom Come. I hope to see you guys there. There's going to be merch. Support the wrestlers, man. You got a lot of guys got merch. They got a whole bunch of things. Get a great wrestling knowledge beyond the Attitude Era. Atlas, man, you're going to make me talk for 30 more minutes. But you're going to make me talk. Man, let me stop. But anyway, hope to see you guys there. It will be a great show. Remember, there's still more announcements I have to do. It's going to be a great show. I promise you guys. It's going to be great. Thank you, Atlas. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Willie. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, David. I'm trying to make sure I said Willie, Matt, Atlas, Brandon. Thank you to the Rich. Thank you to the people who watched. Thank you for the people who commented and everything. Salute Arshawn on the Twitch side. Atlas as well on the Twitch side. Once again, I thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channels, look at the content. This may be my last video for the week because it is my birthday weekend. God bless y'all. I love y'all. God love y'all. This is Chris Classic, and let's take it home.